guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am so excited because I'm going to be showing you my full coverage, long wear, flawless foundation routine. This foundation routine is going to look good in pictures. It's going to last from the moment you put it on by the time you're going to take off your makeup. And I'm going to be showing you all these products in action, which are my Sephora favorites. And today's video is actually sponsored by Sephora, which I can't even believe that I just said that. It's literally a dream come true, and I wouldn't be able to have these amazing opportunities if it wasn't for you guys. I know it's very cliche, very cheesy, but it's the truth, and I appreciate all of you. So thank you to Sephora for sponsoring today's video. I am so grateful. You guys know I love shopping at Sephora, especially when I want to treat myself and splurge, because we all deserve to every once in a while. I especially love shopping at Sephora for new foundations because the shade range is out of this world amazing, and they have so many different foundations to choose from, literally over 100. And I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar, especially if you shop there frequently, that Sephora does have beauty advisors there to help you guys out. Not just find your perfect match, but your perfect foundation, because we all have different wants and needs when it comes to foundations and just beauty products in general. And if you guys ever get color matched and you love the way a foundation looks but you're a little hesitant on purchasing it, you can always get a free 3-day sample of any foundation, any shade. That way you can really try it out for a few days to see if it's going to be worth the splurge or not. And let me know if you guys are familiar with Sephora's Color IQ, because when I first found out about this, I thought it was super cool. So Sephora Color IQ is basically designed to help you find your perfect foundation based upon your personal needs. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but at Sephora, employees have this handheld device that when they hold it up to your face, it'll scan the surface and it'll capture the person's exact skin tone, and it'll match it with a combination of numbers and letters from an existing shade library. And the resulting 4-digit code is known as the Sephora customer's Color IQ. So that is why every single time you will go into Sephora, whether you're self-tanned, tan from the beach, or you're super fair, you're gonna get color matched perfectly. And for all my beauty lovers out there, I encourage you guys to check out Sephora's Beauty Insider community. If you go to sephora.com/community, it's basically just a safe space where clients can get advice from other beauty lovers who are just like them. So all of us beauty addicts can kind of just come together in our own little community and talk all things beauty. So check it out. I'll leave a link down below for you guys. And obviously today's video is all about foundation and a flawless base. So I'm going to share with you guys 3 of my favorite high-end foundations. I have combo skin, by the way, and these are amazing for my skin. So the first one is actually the foundation that I use for today's video, because I feel like it matches me really well, especially since I'm tan. This is the Fenty Beauty by Rihanna Pro Filter Soft Matte Long Wear Foundation. This is just perfection in a bottle. First of all, you guys know Rihanna killed it with the shade range. This foundation is available in 40 different shades, so I feel like you're bound to find your perfect match. I love everything about this foundation, the way it wears, the way it looks in pictures. When I first used this, I was actually still at college last year, and I kid you not, when I took pictures in it every single time with flash, if I was going out on the weekends, it looked flawless. Just like the name of it says, it literally is a soft matte finish. It is beautiful on the skin. It is buildable coverage, so if you really want intense full coverage, you can build this up and it's gonna look gorgeous, never gets cakey. Next up, we have an old favorite. I don't know if you guys have been with me for this long, but I've literally been raving about this foundation for years. This is by Lancome. This is the Lancome Tawny Doll Ultra Wear Foundation. The first time I discovered this, I was a junior in high school. Can you guys believe it? This was so long ago. It was like 5 years ago. I was going to prom. I went to Sephora to splurge on a new foundation because I wanted something that was going to really last all day and really hold up with my oily skin, because I used to have severely oily skin back in the day. So the girl put this on me and I was literally in love. The first minute I saw my face, I was like, okay, I need it. And I never looked back ever since. So I know it's pricey, but it does last a really long time. A little bit goes a long way, and the coverage is just great. I think this is your best bet if you have severely oily skin, because I always love to wear this foundation whenever it's like really hot summer, you know, because it's transfer resistant, it's sweat proof. I'm telling you, it's just great, especially if you're in a hot climate. I definitely recommend this one. Last but not least, we have a newer discovery for me. I don't even know why I discovered this recently. I don't know why I never used it before, because I feel like this foundation has been around for centuries, but it's by Kat Von D. This is the Kat Von D Locket Tattoo 24-Hour Wear Full Coverage Foundation. This is the most full coverage foundation that I have in my entire collection. Not even kidding. A little bit of this goes a long way. The best way for me to describe this foundation is porcelain. Your face is gonna look like a doll. Like, it's gonna literally look flawless, like no other way to describe it. I think if you're taking pictures, maybe like professional photos outside, this would be your best bet, because it's super matte, really nice coverage. It'll cover everything up. You guys already know I love medium to full coverage, because like go hard or go home. So that's typically what I personally go for in foundations, but don't be scared of it. You can definitely use it. A little bit goes a long way, so just be light-handed with it, and I'm telling you, it's gonna look gorgeous on the skin. So yeah, those are my top 3 favorite foundations. Leave me your faves from Sephora down below in the comments, and be sure to check out Sephora so you can try out your next foundation. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into it. By the way, don't forget to grab a snack. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so first things first, of course, I'm gonna be priming my skin. I feel like I can't go without priming. Like, primer is so essential for me. So I'm gonna start off with the Smashbox Photo Finish So Chill Coconut Primer Water. This is actually the collab that Smashbox did with Nicole Concilio, and I love this one because you guys know I'm obsessed with coconut, especially in the summer. So I'm gonna go ahead and just basically bathe in this spray because I love it so much. The key to your primers is really letting them sit for at least 2 to 3 minutes. You always want to let your product sit before going in with the next product. That way it can really have a full effect on your skin. And the primer water, I feel like honestly is great if you have any type of skin, combo, dry, oily, because it really does a good job at just preventing your makeup from looking or feeling cakey. Then I'm going in with my Holy Grail primer. This has been my favorite for a few months at this point. This is the Tatcha The Silk Canvas Filter Finish Protective Primer. It's crazy that I haven't even made a dent in this because I use a lot of it. You guys know I'm super heavy-handed, but I love this so much. Like, this is really good. Smoothing, oil control, like it does it all. Like, I love it. So I pretty much just apply this all over my face. This will also help to prolong your makeup. I know that it's pricey, but I promise you it will last forever. I think I got this back in like March or April, and it's literally August, so it's been a while and I still have a lot of product left. Okay, so for foundation today, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty by Rihanna Pro Filter Soft Matte Long Wear Foundation. I have this one in the shade 310. I feel like this is a really good tan shade for me right now. It might be a slight, like a smidge too dark because my tan is kind of fading, but I'm definitely gonna be able to make it work. So I'm gonna just apply this with my beauty blender. And you guys already know I'm obsessed with this foundation, everything from the packaging to the formula. It's just an amazing foundation. I love the coverage. I like how it's buildable. And I just love the way it looks on my skin. Literally so beautiful. So I'm gonna just really pounce this in with my beauty blender. This is just a Sapphire beauty blender. I like this foundation with a brush as well. It really just depends on what I'm feeling. Usually for me, I find that with foundation, less is more, especially if you're going in with a super full coverage concealer, which I'm gonna do because that's the thing with like really getting your makeup to last all day and look really good by the end of the day is just not going in with a lot of product at a time. If you need to build it up, just do it gradually, but don't start off with like 3 layers of foundation, you know what I mean? Usually for me, 1 good layer is all that I really need, especially in the heat. Here in Pennsylvania, it's so freaking humid out. I don't need a ton of layers of liquid product on my face. For concealer, I'm going in with my current favorite. This is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Super Coverage Concealer, and I'm gonna be using 2 different shades today. So Golden Beige is gonna be like my highlight shade, and then I'm gonna be taking the shade Chestnut just to cream contour. Everything about this concealer is absolutely amazing, and when I do my concealer nowadays, I don't really like to go all the way down and do huge triangles because I'm just not about that life anymore. I like to kind of just take the concealer right down my nose a little bit and right in the inner part, and then once I blend it out, it'll kind of create that triangle without having to use that much product. I'm also going to take this down the bridge of my nose to highlight right above my lip, around my mouth, right on my chin, and also right in between my brows. I'm going to just blend that out again with my beauty blender. I'm also going to take that and apply that on my lid. That's going to act as my primer. You see how full coverage it is? This is such a creamy formula. Absolutely love it. I think Too Faced killed it with this concealer. And it's super hydrating, so if you have really, really dry under eyes, I think you would love this. My under eyes aren't even dry, but I like how hydrating it is because I feel like with full coverage concealers, you need a little extra hydration just so it doesn't look cakey or anything underneath that area. Okay, then to cream contour, as I mentioned, I'm going to use the shade Chestnut. Now, I've been trying to practice more. I'm not perfect at cream contouring yet, but I feel like it gives you such a beautiful bronzy look, especially in the summer. It's been my favorite. So what I like to do is just take the cream contour. So I found that with cream contouring, less is more, especially with this concealer, because once you blend it out, I swear the product just spreads out so much and it becomes super creamy that you don't need a lot. So I also like to really bronze the forehead. I don't have a huge forehead, but I always like to do this because, again, I like that goldeny, bronzy look. Right down the sides of my nose, below my lip. This gives you sort of like a pouty lip effect, which, who does it like that? I'm going to use the same beauty blender to blend this out because I feel like when you use the same beauty blender or sponge that has concealer on it or your foundation, when you blend it out, it's kind of just a little bit more seamless. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to kind of just blend it upwards. Now, my thing is that a lot of you guys always tell me is that I drag it down a little bit too low. And I feel like for me, that's just sometimes because I use too much product. So less is definitely more when it comes to it. Just like that. So doing really, really tiny little strokes with the product helps. I find that with a beauty blender, it just makes it the easiest to blend out my cream contour versus with a brush, because everything kind of just melts into the skin and it looks more seamless, natural. I mean, there's nothing really natural about this, but you get me. And sometimes what you can do also, you can really like cinch your beauty blender in to kind of shape it just the way that you want it to be able to blend. And when I blend around my forehead, I like to kind of blend it up towards my hairline, like literally in my hair, so that it looks as blended as possible. So if I need to, I'll just go back into the same concealer that I use underneath my eyes, and I'll just kind of clean up right underneath the contour. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like to use a lot of layers of foundation, because it allows me to be able to do this without having to worry about my makeup getting cakey. So again, then with the same sponge, I'll just go in and blend that out. Okay, for my nose, I'm actually going to use this brush from Kevyn Aucoin. I will leave all the brushes that I use down below in the description box because all the brushes are from Sephora, so if you're interested, just check down below. I'm going to take this and kind of just blend out the edges of the nose. Very, very lightly. I like to also blend out the nose and blend it right in the crease. Kind of just like that, back and forth. And connecting this in the crease will help to just to give it that, again, that natural look. We're going for natural bronzy contour. I like blending things out, especially really precise areas on my face with brushes like this, because sometimes with the beauty blender you can't really get in really tiny spaces, so this really helps with that. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in one more time and kind of just run through everything with the same beauty blender. So this is something that I never used to do, and I feel like it's made such a difference, especially for my people out there who have really bad fine lines underneath their eyes like myself. So you always want to let your concealer sit for, I would say, maybe like 2-3 minutes. At this time, maybe I'll go get a drink of water, check my phone, whatever the case may be. That way your concealer can crease. Now I know that sounds crazy, but if you let it sit for a little bit before setting it, your concealer is going to naturally crease, because that usually happens, especially if you're using a super hydrating concealer. So once my concealer creases after a few minutes, I'll go in, blend it out with my beauty blender, and then set immediately after. If you just set your concealer right away, you're literally going to set the creases and it's going to look even more dry and more cakey versus if you wait. So that always used to be my problem, and I still get really bad little fine lines under there. I mean, it's just life. My under eye area isn't perfect, but I found that doing this really, really helps, and it makes a difference, you know? Not something huge, like your fine lines aren't going to disappear, but it helps. So how I can tell if I have those creases underneath my eyes, I literally will just make the ugly mascara face, like, and you can kind of see those creases right under there. Don't mind my eyes, by the way. I have really bad allergies and dry eyes, for those of you who are wondering why my eyes are red. So once I have those creases, literally just blend them out, and I like to go back and forth for a few seconds and then set. So to set underneath my eyes and pretty much everywhere where I did apply that concealer, I'm going in with my absolute favorite setting powder of life. I've been using this for so long. This is the Sephora Collection Micro Smooth Baked Foundation Face Powder. I have this one in the shade Medium 25. This is like my tan color. Whenever I'm super fair, I use the shade Claire Light 15. I just don't even know what to say about this powder. It's literally what it says. It's a micro smooth setting powder. It makes everything look beautiful, porcelain, and it's just stunning. Great everyday powder. You can use this to touch up or to set your face. So I'm going to use this really small little brush just to really concentrate the product right underneath my eyes. And this is another trick. I like to set from the outer corner of my eyes to the inner corner. One of you guys actually taught me that, and I feel like, again, it's the little things that really make a big difference when doing your makeup. I'm also going to set my lids as well. I love it. And this powder doesn't give you any flashback in photos or anything like that, so it's perfect. Never looks cakey. It's just a really nice formula. Like, I just can't even describe it. I feel like it's one of those things where you have to use it for yourselves to really see what I'm talking about. And I recently went to Sephora and they were completely stocked on this powder, like literally all of the shades. So if you're looking for this powder, I would definitely recommend going in store if you can, just because I feel like the shade range is a lot better versus online where a lot of the colors are sold out. Then to bronze the skin, I like to bronze and then contour because I feel like it gives you just a more, I keep saying natural, but really a more natural blended look. So I'm gonna be using my Laura Mercier Baked Blush Bronze Compact. This is a very warm color. You can even use this if you were like super fair, maybe as like a blush or like a blush topper. I really like it to bronze just because it is super warm. If I'm pretty fair, I don't know how well this would look on my skin, but right now since I'm tan, I love it. So I'm gonna just use a huge bronzer brush and I'm gonna just bronze the skin. With this product, I like to really take it and kind of press it into the skin versus swiping. Press, 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 and I'm basically gonna go everywhere where I did apply that cream contour. Always want to set your cream products, even if it's just a really light layer, just so that they don't move throughout the day. I'm also going to take the same bronzer and drag it down my neck and on my chest as well. I love applying bronzer on the chest. I feel like it makes you look a little bit tanner, and it's kind of just like a fake illusion that you're a lot tanner than what you really are. Then I'm going to use the previous contour brush from Kevyn Aucoin with that same color very, very lightly because it's super pigmented. And I'm going to drag that down the sides of my nose. Okay, to really give myself that natural shadow cast with the contour, I'm going to go in with something a little bit more cool tone, and my favorite contouring palette of life is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Face Contour Palette. I have been repurchasing this for so long. I love the shades in here. They're not too cool tone, they're not too ashy on my skin. I love them. I also really like the under eye powders, but I feel like I'm a little too fair for them at the moment, so I'm just sticking to the contour shades. I'm going to be using the shade right here in the middle as well as this one. And honestly, if you're super fair and the dark shade doesn't work for you, you could even use this as an eyeshadow as well. With the same brush that I use underneath my eyes, I'm going to use this to chisel the cheeks out. Whenever I do this, I like to really do really tiny little circular motions, and I like to focus most of the contour color right near the hairline, kind of like where the hair is, and then naturally drag it downwards very, very lightly, because you want the bronziness to kind of be like lower and then the contour to be higher, you know what I mean? That double chin. Okay, and then for blush, one of the most beautiful combos that I found for my skin tone in the summer, even when I'm really fair, is from the Sephora collection. This is the Sephora collection Holographic Base and Cheek palette. Love this. I know that this looks kind of like a little bit out of my comfort zone of what I typically go for, but I promise you guys, this is such a wearable palette. I love the highlights in here, but the blushes are my fave. I'm taking the bronzy orange color right here, mixing it with this hot coral. I'm literally gonna do this back and forth. Tap off the excess because look at how pigmented that is, it's crazy. And whenever I do my blush, I always like to drag it upwards towards my bronzer so that it doesn't just look like two circles on your cheeks. So upwards, upwards. I just wiped off my bronzer brush a little bit. I'm gonna blend this out. Sometimes if you go a little too ham with your products, which sometimes this happens to me because you guys know I'm like it's crazy heavy-handed with my products, you can go back into a translucent powder or the powder that you use to set your makeup. I'm using the Sephora Micro Smooth powder, and I'm gonna take that with the same bronzer brush and kind of just run right over top of the blush and bronzer, just to kind of take away from the harshness, and this will also blend out any harsh lines that you may have. So then for the fun part, I'm going to be highlighting my cheeks, of course. This is obviously very personal preference, so do it to your liking, but I'm going to start off with the Makeup Forever Pro Light Fusion highlight in number 2. This is the golden tone one. They also have number 1, which is more of like a pinky. I'm going to use my Anastasia Beverly Hills A23 highlighting brush to take this and just apply this to the tops of my cheekbones. So I like to apply this on the high points of my cheeks, so like right above the blush and the bronzer, and then also kind of like right on the apples of my cheeks. That way when you smile, you can still see the highlight. Also right above my brow, on my temples, and you can just see how intense this is. This literally is just like a really wet, glowy highlight. It's stunning. Right above my lip, a little bit on the chin, just slight. If you have super oily skin, I probably wouldn't do that just because obviously it looks a little oily, you know, but I like the look of it. So every time I give this highlight a break and then I use something else and then I go back to this, I'm like, I don't know why I ever stopped using this. It's literally perfection. So then what I like to do, this step is totally optional. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to use a different brush. I'm going to use a fan brush, and I'm going to take the Fenty Beauty by Rihanna Kilowatt Freestyle Highlighter in Trophy Wife. You guys already know this is one of my most unique shades in my entire collection. It's such a beautiful color. I feel like it's so versatile. You can use this not just as a highlight, you can use this as an eyeshadow, and it's just the perfect color. I think whether you're super fair or super dark, it's gonna look gorgeous on you no matter what. So this step is obviously optional, but it's kind of just like a highlight topper is what I like to consider it, because this is very intense. So I like to literally just take my fan brush and dip in here very, very slightly. I like to kind of just take this right over top of the previous highlight that I just used, just to give me that really gorgeous like yellowy gold undertone. I don't like to apply this everywhere because it does have glitter in it, but it's like in the best way possible. When you take pictures, this really stands out. It really looks so absolutely stunning. So now we can move on to the eyes. That's why I decided to do my face first, because the eyes are going to be literally super simple, like 2 things. That's all we're going to do. I am going to be using my Sephora Pro Pigment palette. This is the warm tone one, of course. I'm going to pick up the yellow shade in the palette right here. This palette is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And I'm gonna just take that yellow and just blend it in the crease. Also gonna be swirling this shade on my lid and just making it really, really smoky. It's such a simple look, and I love yellow eyeshadow. I think it's so flattering. And you could totally just use like a warm brown or something like that, but I wanted to just kind of amp it up. And even though this is such a simple eye look, with the yellow, it kind of looks like you tried a little harder versus just using like a soft brown, which is what I always do. So I love the yellow. So then jumping back into Trophy Wife by Fenty Beauty, I'm going to take that and apply that right in the brow bone, just like that. Ooh, it's like a gold lime green, like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I can't get over it. So this is also without wetting my brush. You guys know I usually always do that, but with this you literally do not need to. So I'm going to take that there, also in the inner corner of my eyes, for a little extra pop. And that's it for the eyeshadow. Super, super simple. All I'm going to do next is just apply some lashes. I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty Samantha No. 7 lash. These are so beautiful, really wispy, and just really wearable. Perfect for every single day. So I'm going to pop these on, and then we'll move into lips, and we'll be almost done. So lashes are on. Finally, we can move into the lips. So I'm going to start by lining them with the Bite Beauty the lip pencil, and this one's in 036. Of course, it's a nude. This is like a perfect pink nude. So I'm just gonna line my lips. And then I'm going over top with the Bite Beauty Amuse Bouche lipstick. This one's in Honeycomb. By the way, don't mind the way that it looks. I love this lipstick so much that it ended up in my makeup bag in my purse, which ended up in my very hot car. So that's why it got all melted. But I'm still going to use it because the color is perfection, and this formula is so creamy. So I'm going to top that off with some gloss. This is totally optional, especially with how creamy the lipstick formula is. You don't have to do that, but this is like probably one of my all-time favorite lip glosses ever, because it goes with any lip liner, any lipstick, bare lips, anything. So this is the Fenty Beauty by Rihanna Gloss Bomb Universal Lip Luminizer. It literally is a universal lip luminizer. Definitely recommend this if you're looking for just like an everyday go-to gloss, and it also smells like fruit punch, which I love. When I had my internship, this was like the only lip gloss that I ever wore, like just on my bare lips, because it makes your lips look like your lips but better. Final thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and set my makeup. Now, I will sometimes use a setting spray, or sometimes I'll just use my same primer spray that I use because it's so hydrating, and I feel like using primer spray before and after really just assures that your makeup just really is absorbed and sunken into the skin. So I'm going to go back into the same primer water spray that I was using earlier from Smashbox. And then typically at this time, just to assure that everything is as blended as possible, I'll take my damp beauty sponge and I'll just run right over top of my highlight, especially if I ever feel like maybe I used too much. I mean, there's no such thing as too much, but if I just feel like it needs a little more blending. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop some earrings in, and then I'll see you guys in 1 second. Alright guys, so that completes this video. Let me know what you guys think. This is definitely one of my go-to foundation routines, especially for pictures, because it's really glowy, really pretty, really great coverage, and it lasts all day or night. So leave me your Sephora favorites down below in the comments. I will also leave all of the products and brushes that I use in the description box if you guys are interested, so make sure to check that out before you leave. Thank you once again to you guys and to Sephora for working with me in today's video. I love you all, and I will see you in a few days in my next one. Bye!